Hey guys, how's everything going? This is JSer. TypeScript 4.5 is coming. Let's see what's new in this version. Okay, the first one, ECMAScript module supporting Node.js. Well, this is updated by Node.js itself. For a long time, Node.js had used this CommonJS, right, as this module system. But JavaScript language itself has chosen to use a different syntax than that. I use this import, export stuff. So Node.js has finally supported in Node.js 12. I haven't written this Node.js code for a long time. I don't know exactly what happens, but anyway, so in the newest Node.js version, we could use this ECMAScript module, but with the new new file extension, it should be, I remember it's MJS, right? Module.js and the CJS stuff. Okay, so in order to adapt these changes, TypeScript has a new module setting, Node 12 or Node Next. Well, to differentiate the Node.js version. Cool. Okay, so this is what's updated in Node.js. In the module, we have the new field called type. Either it could be a module or CommonJS. So before, it's all CommonJS, and now if defined as module, then the module will be treated as ECMAScript module. Well, this is obvious. So actually, it's written somewhere. Okay, yeah. CJS and MJS. So if we take a look at the detailed explanation in the Node.js homepage, we can see the detailed logic. But here, to summarize, if the JavaScript is named as CJS, it will be treated as CommonJS module, no matter what. If it is MJS, you will treat it as ECMAScript module, no matter what. But if the file is just like JS, these two, it will be depending on these package JSON to the type field. If they say it's module, then okay, ECMAScript module, otherwise CommonJS. So yeah, so in ECMAScript module, we're already familiar with that. We have import, export. There's no such thing as export.default stuff, right? Okay, and then relative import path needs to full extension. This something is a little bit different. We have to write import a full JS. Well, this is obvious because we now support two different module systems in Node.js. We need to you need to determine which one it is, right? If say there's two files, foo.mjs, foo.js, foo.cjs. If you just use this foo, which one do you want? Well, either is fine. So yeah, need to use the full extensions. Blah blah blah. These could be okay. Certain global values required process cannot be used directly because yeah, that's not in the language itself. So yeah, reasonable. So so for TypeScript itself, when a TS file is compiled as ECMA module, import export is left in the JS. Obviously, we don't need to change anything, so because Node.js not supports it. So yeah, when it's compiled as CommonJS module, it will be transpiled into the CommonJS import export. So for example, this is Vue.js. We have this export ECMA syntax, and then bar.ts. This is ECMA syntax, right? Yeah. This code works in CommonJS module. Wait a minute. That ES module, then it do. For example, let's say you have a following code today for TS, bar.ts. This code works in CommonJS module, but will fail in S module because relative import path needs to use the extensions. Yeah. Anyway, it means that TypeScript will transpile it. Either if you use CommonJS, it will know that this is the named export, and this is named import. So yeah, it's fine. But before it works in ECMAScript, but now we need to use the a full extension. Yeah, reasonable. Just to remember, if we need to use this new stuff in Node.js, we need to use this full extension. Cool. New file extension. As I mentioned, in Node.js, there will be like MJS, Module.js, and CommonJS. So for TypeScript, we have the corresponding type called, MTS, CTS. If we named files like this, TypeScript emit the files in MJS, CTS respectively. Wow, I just a little confused. There's so many file extensions now, which is not cool for God. Okay, and the declaration file d.mts, d.cts. God. Okay. Anyway, remember it. CommonJS interrupt. This is why it works in Node.js. Okay, so Node.js allows ES modules to import CommonJS modules if they were ES modules with a default export. So this is full TS. Okay, CommonJS TS, module TS. These will be built with the syntax untouched because it will be MJS. It works. So, and this full TS export function helper. This syntax will be transformed into the exports.helper equals. So, and then if you import it, it can .helper. It works because this is a CommonJS interrupt, and yeah, it's basically the same as the ECMAScript with just a little bit different syntax. No, like internal something very much different. So yeah, it is allowed. Yeah. So you import them as a whole module and then use this method. Yeah, works. In some cases, Node.js also synthesizes named export for CommonJS module, which can be more convenient. So this is okay. This is the same, right? CTS and bar, yeah. And then this is looks the same to me. Are they full CTS, full CTS, helper, input? Oh, it's oh yeah, no, it's different. Now you can directly use named import. Foo, where's foo? The helper? This is something wrong, right? It's just the helper, I guess. In some cases, it might use a namespace style import or named import. Yeah. There isn't always a way to TypeScript to know whether these named X import will be synthesized, but TypeScript will err on being permissive and use some heuristic when importing file that is defined in CommonJS module. We'll also just avoid it, just use the default import. I think there's some typo here. It should be helper, right? I guess. One TypeScript specific note about interrupt is following syntax. Well, the import food equals require. This is something really weird. I don't know. I never used it actually. TypeScript specific. I hate something like TypeScript specific. Okay, this is just for CommonJS. It just will be a require call, and the ES modules it doesn't work. So it imports a create require, but actually it will require won't work in the browser, right? In runtime. So import. Yeah, this will make it less portable. Yeah, you need to be careful. But will often be useful in interoperability. In turn, you can write the above example using the syntax as follows. Yeah, why not? Finally, it's worth noting that the only way to import ASM files from a CJS file is using dynamic import. Okay, the reason why is because CommonJS module is actually, if you require them, it's worked as synchronous, right? If you require this full.js, it will load the file and then just parse it and put the module in a runtime. But in ECMAScript, it's something different. there's no it's all asynchronous, so it doesn't work. This is why if you use dynamic import, they'll all be asynchronous, so they could be compatible. Okay, detail in the link here. Okay, so this is for the first one, support for the new Node.js module system. Yeah, pretty. This is a lot, but get used to it. Okay, package JSON, exports, imports, and self-referencing. So for a module, this is still part of it. So say if you want to export a module, depending on whether it is used as CommonJS or used as ECMA module, you can define now as if entry point for the ECMAScript module, the ESM, and require. Oh God, this just add the complexity. Okay, then CJS fallback, yeah. Oh, it's complicated. Why just name that explicitly ESM or CommonJS? Why just use this keyword? I don't understand. I don't know. Anyway, this is something. If you are building some nice like module in the npm, you need to take care of this package JSON. Okay, now yeah, entry point for TypeScript. For TypeScript, you can now have this TypeScript resolution. Yeah, types fallback. Yeah, it's kind of like Node.js is making things complicated, and TypeScript is add one more extra layer on it. Okay, your feedback wanted. Cool. So this is all for the Node.js, and next one, supporting lib from Node modules. This means that every time you upgrade your TypeScript, the built-in lib will be shipped as well, right? Just to ship directly to you. You cannot control the lib version, but now you can. Say you want to upgrade the TypeScript, but keep the DOM version, type version to the previous one. Yeah, because the browser itself, the version, the methods change rapidly, and you want to get it freezed. You can define the dependencies, TypeScript, lib, DOM, npm type stuff, and yeah, it will not use the new version for lib. Cool. There's a lot of modules about this lib, like DOM and what? Lib DOM. Oh, I can only think of lib DOM. A node, yeah, there's some node stuff. Yeah, just to take a look. Okay, awaited type and promise improvements. Into a new utility type called awaited. Yeah, this is actually just to unwrap the promise, right? It's very simple. You can write it by yourself. Just to use the generic type and use the infer, and you can get the type out of this promise. Oh, this is cool. It says if this boolean and promise number, if you await it, boolean is not changing. So this is better. Yeah, use awaited. Here's an example that fails in TypeScript 4.4. What does it mean? Okay, so result await promise all, maybe promise 100, maybe promise 200. So the result, it defined the function, said return the promise number. Yeah, this is right. This should be no problem, but TypeScript 4.4 made some errors. Says number or promise or this is weird, right? It should not be like this. But this is fixed in 4.5. Cool. Template string types as a discriminants. What is discriminants? It means that some union type, and you can use one field of them and use that as an identifier, and you can use that field to check which the type it is. Okay, so this is in success, error, use the same field called type, and then you can discriminate. If the type is HTTP success, we can make sure that R is success. So now it supports template string. Wow, cool. Success, error handler, if type is HTTP success. Okay. So it's kind of like it knows when the type is this, it kind of knows you are matching the first one. You won't matching the second one. Interesting. It's kind of like we can now define a pattern, right, for the strings. Cool. Module ES 2022 is one thing added is the top level await. Cool. Tail recursion elimination of conditional types. Okay, as I've explained this like for a lot of times, all the types in the TypeScript, I think, I'm not an expert on this, but most of them are just the regular expressions and recursion. Well, for recursion, there's a depth problem, right? You cannot just recursively infer the type of something like forever. So there's a maximum there in it. Even in the JavaScript itself, there will be like a maximum stack's depth limit. And let's take a look at an example. Infinite box T item, infinite box T, unpack, extend, unpack you. So this is unpack. Unpack this. If it is an object item, we just keep unpack it. If not, we just return T. Okay, unpack infinite box number. But because it's infinite, right? You cannot just unpack will cause this error. Yeah. And then intentionally simple and useless, but actually useful, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, trim left. I think I've done this before in the BFE. You can try it. Trim left, okay, and we get the rest, trim the first space, and then, yeah. And if we trim this, it will be hello and world. Cool. This kind of useful, but if your string has 50 leading spaces, you're gonna error. Because, yeah, this is too deep. Yeah, this is recursion. This is unfortunate, but the saving grace, trim is written away. This tail recursive in one branch. When it is called itself again, it returns result and doesn't do anything. This is tail recursion. If you're not familiar with it, search on Google. There will be a detailed explanation. It's actually pretty simple. If you just return something with nothing extra, like no if clause, you just call the recursion again and do nothing else, the engine will just do this optimization for you, so there will be no infinite stack. That's why TypeScript 4.5 performs some tail some. Okay, I don't know the condition here. Tail recursion elimination. Wow, good for that. Okay, get chars. So the example here, it won't get error anymore. In following type won't get optimized since it uses result conditional type. Yeah, as I said in JavaScript, you don't add any condition, extra logic. You just return the raw result from the recursion itself. Then you could be optimized. And then yeah, this cannot be optimized. If you like to make it tail recursive, you can introduce a helper. Accumulate. Yeah, I see a lot of pattern this a lot on BFE.dev. You just use the second parameter to cache the result. Cool. Disabling import elision. What does this mean? Elision. Okay. There are some cases where TypeScript can't detect that using import. For example, take the following code. Yeah, of course, this is in string. Who knows? No one knows. If you want to keep it, then you can add this flag, preserve value imports, to prevent stripping out. Yeah, useful for some cases. If you are in Svelte, because you're not using the name of this function, just to bind it into the HTML click handler. TypeScript doesn't know that. So yeah, if you're using this flag, it will be kept. Cool. Note that this flag has a special requirement when combined with isolate modules. Imported type must be marked as typed only because the compiler that processes single files at a time have no way of knowing whether imports are values that appeared unused or a type that must be removed in order. Which of these is a value that should be preserved? TSC knows, but TS transpath module, TS loader, ES build, etc. don't. So yeah. So because the type stuff is only TypeScript specific. It doesn't know. So isolated module gives an error. What is isolated modules? Imported types. I'm a little confused here. Isolated modules. Imported types must. So isolated modules gives an error. Well, if there's if it is an error, ask you to just explicitly set it as type import and just use it. Yeah, this is a new feature, type. Now you can import type. Really? There's no such thing in before? I think I've used this like import type in TypeScript before, or I just have a bad memory. Anyway, yeah. As mentioned, preserve value imports and have special requirements that there's no ambiguity for build tools where it's safe to drop the type imports. When these options are combined, we need a way to signal when an import can be dropped. Type, import type. Yeah, so this import could be safely dropped. This worked, but it would be nice to avoid to import statement. Yeah, from the same module in the 2 rows. You can now import something, type something. Okay, got it. Base type is always guaranteed to be erased, and some function will be preserved under preserve value imports. Cool. Private field presence check. TypeScript 4.5 supports ECMAScript proposal to checking whether an object has a private field on it. You can now write a class with a private field. Yeah, this is the private field name. And then if equals something, it will just return if the other is not now. And then type of that other is object and the name in the other. And then you can, if the name is the same, then equal. This is something new of in, right? One interesting aspect of this feature is that name in other implies that other must have to be constructed as person because it's private. If you're comparing, if you say this private field is in this object, then it must be person because even if you create something different like class animal have a name private field, this name and that name is not the same. So this name is something because it's private, so it's special. So it could be used as an identifier. Reasonable. Interesting. Import assertions. This is something new for ECMAScript. So import assert the type is JSON. Okay. Ooh, this is something new. I saw it somewhere, but I don't quite remember where it is. Maybe from the Google's blog post. Yeah, if import some JSON, your assert is JSON. If it is not, there will be errors thrown, right? The contents of this assertion are not checked by TypeScript. Yeah, of course. It's checked by JavaScript runtime. There will be some error. Dynamic import calls can also assertion. Import something and it should be JSON, if not through an error. This is interesting and useful, I guess. Yeah. Faster load time with real path sync. Yeah, something internally for TypeScript. Good for it. Snippet completion for JSX attributes. what does it mean? We write an attribute on JSX tag will already provide suggestions for those attributes. But with snippet combinations, they can remove a little bit of extra typing by adding an initializer and put your cursor in the right place. Class name. So they will place the cursor in a better position. Good. Okay, skip it. Better editor support. Okay, editor. No, breaking changes. TypeScript type TS4.5 contains changes to its built-in declaration file. Oh yeah. Await it. What's next? After this beta release, the team will be focusing on fixing issues and adding polish for our release candidate. The sooner, yeah. Cool. I think there's a yeah, it's generally good. Not that exciting, and I'm not an expert on TypeScript either. Hope this video helps you. If not, tell me what I can improve on. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.